I love the little jig that Nicholas was doing. before.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
Good evening. Why am I laughing hysterically? It's because my partner Nicholas is hilarious. That's why I'm laughing hysterically.
Well, I just like to
Um.
acknowledge that my soulmate is black. That's it.
Oh, you know what? Now I think about it, I misread that. Freaking, I said my black soulmate, but you said my soulmate is black. Okay, that makes perfect sense now. When I was commenting earlier.
I'm trying to figure out like how you read, right? It's supposed to be left or right. So I mean, what do you like? My black soulmate. You're going all
You know what?
around.
Don't judge me. You know what? I'm doing the best I can. Okay? Jeez. This motherfucker. I'm out
Oh my
here
God,
sweating on this thing
back
for the
man.
last sweating on this stuff for like a few hours now. Like doing research. Didn't even do all the research I wanted to do.
It's been
But
tough, man. It's been 2 weeks. I missed y'all.
it's been two
Missed y'all.
weeks. Did you though? Did you miss
Not
y'all?
not you, not you. Y'all, the fans. So yeah, you just not you're not on it tonight, man. You're messing up.
I'm not on it tonight. Well, welcome to the Targeted Podcast, everyone. I am Sahid. That is Nicholas. As you can see, his soulmate is black, and
That she
we have
is.
two more wishes because I'm here. Your number one wish is here. So let's get started.
Eh.
Hey, read that. It's been 2 weeks. My boy Nicholas. Congratulations.
Appreciate it,
Add
brother.
another one to the Lewis household. So much appreciated. Well, not
We
much
got a
appreciated.
starting five right
Congratulations.
now. We got a
Yeah,
starting
starting
five.
five. He finally got himself a boy.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. So no, thank you guys for watching. Welcome to
Where's your
Targeted
drink?
Podcast.
You should be toasting me right now, but you're not. I feel it. Water,
The water.
lame.
It is. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. This is the best I got.
I should be having a glass of the Douce that you bought me after losing that bet. That's what I should be having.
Fuck you and your bet. Fuck you and your bet. That's what I have to say about that shit.
Dub Nation.
Yeah.
Dub Nation.
Dub Nation. No, I mean no. I thought that the Celtics were gonna win after like they destroyed Brooklyn. This is totally off topic from what we're gonna talk about, but
There's
yeah.
still a difference between the East and the West, my friend. There's still a big
Well, the
difference.
East has gotten better. It's just that
There's still a
the Warriors are
difference.
still that team. The Warriors are still that team, right? So
I was trying to tell you.
no, they're good. It's good. I'm not mad about losing. I'm actually super happy. I won't say I'm super happy that I lost. No one's happy losing, but I don't mind losing that bet. Right? Super happy
Yeah.
for Steph Curry. Got to give you a gift that you probably will use because you have 3 kids. So
I get a gift? I get a gift?
I gave it to you, Bat.
Oh.
Whatever. You're still a DC fan, and Warner Brothers is screwing you. So whatever.
Hey. More
All right.
importantly, football season is about to start, so
Football season's about to start.
y'all can expect me to wear something Eagles related every week that we win, which is probably going to be just about every week. So get ready for that Eagles green, man. Let's go. Let's get
How
ready.
So I'm expecting like maybe during this time, maybe 4 times that you're going to wear the Eagles green.
You might be talking about your boys, New Orleans. Might be talking
I
about
think
your
my team's
boys.
better than your team. I think my team's better than your team.
Do we need another bet? Whose team is going to have the better record this year?
We may need another bet.
Okay.
So we have to figure out a bet though, because I don't know if they
another
play.
bottle, obviously. Another bottle.
We have to figure out a bet because they don't play. I don't know if they play each other for starters. That's number one.
Doesn't matter. We're talking about records for the season. I don't even care about that.
You guys in a crap division though.
You're the one that sounds real confident. So I mean, like I
I'm
said,
saying my team is better than yours, but
I don't need a
that's
bunch of
the thing.
caveats. I
I'm
don't need a bunch of
confident about
caveats.
my team being better than yours.
Okay,
I'm not
so
confident about
whoever's
my
team
team
has the
showing.
worst record this
No,
season
no,
will owe
that's
somebody a
not
bottle.
fair when you're in the worst division.
You sound like you're crying already. That's what it sounds like. You're
So
crying
that's
already.
not a fair bet when you're in the worst division.
Either
Just
you
saying.
want to do it or you don't.
Look, I want to do it.
All right, put up
We'll
or shut
figure out a
up.
fair bet.
Put up or shut up.
We'll put up next time. We'll put up next time when we get a chance. Yeah, no, what we're talking about podcast, everyone. Follow us on Instagram, on YouTube, Facebook, all the things. Subscribe. I don't know if Nicholas has been doing his job in uploading our content, but we're on Anchor.
What?
Throwing shots in his ways.
Oh, ye of little faith.
Oh yeah, throwing shots. So no, follow us on all the things, all the things. Much appreciated. All right, so let's go ahead and get into it. Right, it's already late, and let's kind of just talk about some things that we heard this week. I want to talk a little bit about Black Girl Magic, right? So in like I guess the national championships for gymnastics. Gymnastics is not a sport that I follow, but in the national like competition this week, 3 Black women podiumed, right? And that's very telling. I kind of want to ask you, how do you feel when you hear that? Because you have 2 girls, right, at home.
Dude,
So
it definitely like because we're looking at like extracurricular activities for the girls right now, right? And one of those things is gymnastics. We're looking at dance. So to see us, just to have them see that type of representation, because I definitely show them that type of stuff online all the time or whatever, you know what I mean? So, and we're working on them, getting them to do like little flips and this and that. So when they see that, I mean, yeah, hey, that could be me. Yeah, like, yeah, that can be you. Now somebody up there looks just like you, right? So I couldn't be happier, man. I want to see more of it. I like to see it in the Black community. It's like such a focus on like football and basketball and stuff like that, and rightly so because they make a lot of money. But it's good to see us and kind of branching out a little bit. You know what I mean? Like Tiger did it with golf. You had some big time. You have people doing things in gymnastics and stuff too. So I definitely want to see it if my girls are interested in it, and if they are, then yeah, we're gonna push them for sure. For sure.
That's cool. So the names, Shalice Jones, Connor McLean, and Jordan Childs. It will be great if they all represented the U.S. in like I think it's in France, in Paris. Is the next Olympics. So yeah, super excited on that, man. Good stuff. So yeah, super happy for that. I wanted to mention that a little bit. We want to talk a little bit about the student loan forgiveness a little bit as well, right? So big news this week. Grandpa Joe Biden announced that he is a grandpa.
So disrespectful, bro. So disrespectful.
Grandpa President Joe Biden. I think that's fair. He's the oldest, but he announced this week that he's reducing, giving a $10,000 student loan forgiveness for qualified borrowers. So you have to be making less than $125,000 a year, right? That's pretty much the major one, and you're up to $10,000. I don't know what the other requirements are, but when that happened, as you of course Republicans kind of came out and started attacking him, saying, "Oh, it's not fair that he's doing this, right? It's not fair that this is happening. What about all the others that have been paying their student loans? Like, so for me, I've paid my student loans years ago, right? Like almost 10 years ago, actually. Now that I think about it, like I was able to knock out most of all my student loans, right? So I definitely remember feeling some type of way when it was announced. However, I was later reminded, thankfully, about all the PPP loans that went out that nobody complained about, right? When these corporations, or I think Kanye West had a PPP loan, right? And keep in mind, this guy's a billionaire, right? He got a PPP loan for his business, right?
Yeah.
A lot of people had PPP loans, and a lot of people couldn't qualify for PPP loans. So our good friend, our buddy Mo, who runs a couple small businesses, he couldn't get a PPP loan, right? And that's kind of how it is. It's very unfair. And the White House. So after Republicans started attacking him this week, um, so Marjorie Taylor Greene, other douchebag from Florida, I forgot his name with the huge forehead. Um, Congressman Matt Gaetz is his name. That's his name. So Congressman Matt Gaetz, White Taylor Greene, and a variety of other Republicans started attacking him, and the White House came out with responded with a list of all of these guys attacking him and the PPP loans that they've gotten. Right,
Yes.
it's the right amount of petty. This is the kind of petty I kind of need right here that you need to get. Right.
So this is my thing about that, right? Like,
Yeah.
and what's interesting is the White House got the numbers for those folks from another Twitter account, right?
Yeah.
So I started looking at that particular Twitter account. I forget because I would shout them out. I don't have it written down or whatever. She's calling everybody out, listening to everybody out, how much money the loan was, who it was, how they got it forgiven, and all of that stuff. And so the White House came out, kind of made her official for once, so good for her. But then they, started calling folks out or whatever. And I'm just sitting back laughing, honestly, man, because it's like they get upset that, I mean, it's like their argument was that everyone who isn't making six figures or more is somehow suffering because of this program, but everyone who went to college isn't making six figures, right?
No.
There are plenty of people out there who go to college, they get all this debt, and they may end up in a profession that doesn't allow them to pay it off. That's just what it is. You study what you study for, you get the job that you get, or perhaps you get a degree, and for whatever reason, with the job market being what it is at the time, or just bad luck for you, you're not able to get your career going as you thought it would be, right? But you're still stuck with those student loans.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Those are the people that are really the ones who are that need help. So I think it's funny that the Republicans are calling on these folks to be upset about this program when they're probably the very people who are benefiting from it. You know what I mean? And it's funny how they say your neighborhood plumber or this and that person is struggling to pay for someone's debt who's probably making $200,000 a year, but plumbers aren't exactly struggling either. A lot of those people are probably running their own business, and probably doing very well for themselves.
Oh, you remember Joe the plumber?
I don't want to just call out plumbers either, but I only say that because I called a plumber over here.
I remember recently. Joe the plumber became a conservative sweetheart years ago when he challenged Obama about his tax plan, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm going to make $30 million the plumbing company. Am I going to be taxed like crazy?" I'm like, "You're a plumber. That is not your problem."
We gotta stop looking down on people's professions, bro. Everybody isn't going to be a doctor, right?
That's fair, but this guy literally was like, "I'm going to be making 30. I'm starting a business. I'm going to be making X amount of dollars." This is literally counting your chickens before they hatch, right? Saying I'm going to be making X amount of dollars, right? Definitely not, shooting down on plumbers because it's a needed profession, a much needed profession, right, in our society, right? But morally, shooting down on this douchebag, Joe the plumber. So, I remember go ahead.
The thing with the PPP loan thing is just funny to me because it was supposed to be for small businesses who are struggling, right? But who goes out and grabs this money? A bunch of rich people,
really rich people.
And then they say oh I'm trying to save jobs in my business and that you are not who that loan was for.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying.
You'll
So
be fine. You can take a couple of lost dollars during a pandemic, right? It's amazing to me too that the congressmen that got PPP loans like were were being called out. And let's be honest, it's not going to affect them anyway, right? I was reading an article earlier today on how um, the Trump followers, like even with all of what's happening, right? They still want to follow Trump, right? And all these guys have like aligned themselves with Trump. That's what happens when you have like blind allegiance. These guys can get away with almost anything, and you would support them, right? There's no accountability on their part. Um, so yeah, that's kind of the unfortunate thing. I definitely remember when it came out. I just thought to myself like, man, I'm looking to buy a house. I haven't like bought a house yet, um, or yeah, anything like. And having this, having more people have their loans reduced will make the market harder for me. That was me kind of thinking very nearsighted about myself, right? Um, and some of the the grand scheme of things, right? People Well, college loans have been really, really expensive, right? I was lucky enough to not go to an expensive college, right? So, and I was able to get a job where I took me only a couple of years to pay off my student loans, right? That's not the case with a lot of people, right?
yeah,
Um, and that's what we have to kind of think about and have that level of empathy, right, with people. So, yeah,
exactly.
shout out to President Joe Biden, Grandpa Joe Biden. I kind of like Grandpa
Hey,
Joe Biden. I think it's a good one.
I'm liking it,
Uh,
man. And the other
yeah,
thing too is like they're trying to make it like, everyone is getting their college expenses forgiven. I mean, it's you have to
that's
look at the rules for it, right? It's
no,
very it's
no,
there's definitely some stipulations in there to keep
yeah.
everybody
You have
from
to make less than one hundred
bidding
twenty-five
for it.
thousand dollars,
Yeah, if you're
right?
single, $250,000. If you're married, and like you were
Yeah.
saying, like I was fortunate enough to not I went to school on scholarship, right? So and that was
Nerd. Kidding. Go ahead, man.
but I mean that was
Black
one of
nerds, man.
the reasons why I chose to go to the school that I went to, right? Because I'm thinking
Yep.
about myself, I'm thinking about my family too. Not to say that they couldn't or they didn't have a plan in place to help me go to school, but you know, I don't want to be a liability to them. I don't want to be paying on this thing for the rest of my life.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And as somebody who has 3 kids, I'm thinking about college expenses right now. You know what I mean? You know,
Yeah.
it's funny. I told my parents that, like, why? I was like, dude, like, a little bit at a time right now goes a very long way. Like, I did the math, right? Like, I got my 529 plan. I got my, the kids' savings accounts and all this stuff. I mean, it's real.
Yeah.
So,
You got to start early. You got to start years early. So you're in the right
yeah,
mindset already. You're in the right
yeah.
mindset already, right?
Because I don't want
Money
my
doesn't
kids
grow on
coming
trees,
back.
and it doesn't grow quickly, right? If you can master
Exactly.
that compounding interest trick, right, you'll be fine, right? So that's good that you're thinking about that years in advance, right? Cool. So no, super happy for the student loan forgiveness program that's happening. I don't think it fixed the problem. Like the problem is that tuition has gone ridiculously high,
It's
right?
gotten crazy.
It's getting
Yes.
crazy high, and it's only certain people can afford that, right? And
Yeah.
considering, I think it's fascinating how considering Republicans pretty much make the reason why they're able to exist in the form they are today is because of uneducated people, right? So
Yeah.
of course they're like pissed off, like, no, we shouldn't like pay the people pay for college or whatever, right? Because that's essentially their base, right?
Well,
Um,
you think about it, right? Like the
yeah,
majority of jobs right now require you to have a college degree,
yep,
right? So they're pretty much forcing you to go to college if you want to have a halfway decent
that's true.
career
That's true.
anyway. Then
Yeah,
you add on the fact that like a lot of folks, you look at the minority community, the people that are going to school, they may be the first or second generation that have been able to go to school, right?
yeah,
That says something too, because that means that their family may not have, the financial, the means to pay for their college,
yeah.
right? And so
That's
if my family didn't have the means to pay for my college, that means I have to get a loan. And
yeah.
if I have to get a loan, that means that I'm out here on a hope and a prayer that whatever field I choose to make my focus makes me enough money to pay that off, or the market is good enough to to have positions open for me to make the money I need to pay it off. So I mean, it's crazy out here, man.
Yeah, no, absolutely, absolutely. Cool. Well, that's on that. Let's go ahead and get to like our less political, social justice stuff and some of the stuff that we enjoy.
Let's talk about something
Um,
fun.
let's talk about some fun stuff. I apologize to let you down a little bit, Nicholas. I haven't had a chance to see the Sandman this week. This weekend has been so much for
Very
me.
disappointing. I mean, I only have like
Whatever.
a
It's
newborn
fine.
and 2 other kids and everything else I'm trying to take care of. But yeah,
Hey, you
sure.
know what, asshole? I did watch. I did watch Hulk, and I did watch. I did watch House of the Dragon, and I do create the thumbnails and think about all that stuff.
Ooh,
So
the
that
big
took a
man made the
while.
thumbnails.
That took a while. Screw you. Like it is not. That is not my cup of tea. It really isn't. But I'm actually happy I'm learning that kind of stuff. So yeah. But no,
Yeah.
like you tell me like about like the Sandman. No spoilers. I will watch it eventually. I will say one thing though, um, is that like the episode seemed like an hour long, which is a bit of an investment for me.
Dude,
That's
I
what I
don't
like
even want to
about
hear that. I don't even want to
I
hear it.
that's what I like about She-Hulk though, because they're shorter episodes, right? Same thing with some of the Marvel stuff. They're much shorter episodes. I get in 30, 45 minutes, done, I'm doing something else, right? Like I tell you, when I watch content, I'm usually just glued and I pause and I rewind to see if I catch some shit, right? So yeah, but yeah, go ahead, tell me about Sandman.
So Sandman is based on the classic graphic novel from DC Comics. Um, and unfortunately, I haven't had the chance to read it yet. But as soon as I saw or heard that it was announced, I like looked up the graphic novel, kind of read like a summary of it, and I was on board. Like I'm into mythology, I'm into
Mhm.
this type of stuff, right? So the show, I mean, I think it's great. Like
Mhm.
again, when we talk about DC Comics, it's like, oh, Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, DCEU is all messed up, which it is, but they have other stuff outside of that, right?
Yeah, there is true.
And that's one of
And
the
they should
things
probably
that,
focus more on that kind of stuff too, so they can stop messing up. Let them mess up other things outside of Batman with
yeah,
Superman.
they're screwing that up royally, right? But when I
Mm,
when I started watching this show, I mean,
mm,
I was in there from the first episode,
yeah,
um,
yeah, you
and
already
it's
saw the whole thing.
basically following what's that?
You saw the whole thing.
Yeah, I watched the whole series. The only thing I didn't like was like the last, I guess, the bonus episode.
Uh,
It was a collection of shorts. Wasn't really
yeah,
feeling it.
yeah.
I might rewatch it just to see if I change my mind about that, but
Hmm.
no. But the rest of the series, I mean, you're basically looking at these entities that you might know from mythology, like Morpheus, which is like the king of dreams. You have Lucifer, which is the devil, and then you have um, Morpheus is like whether they're considered his brothers and sisters, right? So like despair and death and desire, right? They're all characters, and they're kind of all like these functions of human mythology or whatever, right? And
Yeah.
so it follows the Sandman and or Morpheus, and basically he gets caught, and it kind of follows him like freeing himself, and follows his adventures to get there's some things that get stolen from him, so it follows his adventures to get those things back and to protect his realm, which is the dreaming. So
Mm,
I don't want to do any spoiler type stuff, but it's dope. It's well written. There were some folks talking about like the aspect ratio and the way that the series was filmed. But if you look at the art in the graphic novel, I think that it kind of mirrors what they were showing, what they showed in the show, kind of mirrors the art in the graphic novel. So like the people are kind of like tall and skinny um,
mm.
in the
Okay.
show, specifically Dream, right? But I like how they had Dream's hair. I mean, it looks like one of the images from the graphic novel. Some of the things that they do, with his eyes and stuff, was very reminiscent of the art in the graphic novel. So I'm a big fan, man. I think it's a great show. So I'm just like, it's on Netflix. I enjoyed it, but what happens when you get invested in a show on Netflix? They cancel it, right?
Of course. That's true.
So
You're absolutely right.
So it's been like one of the top 1 or 2 shows for the past few weeks.
Yeah.
Let's just hope this joint gets like a proper run. I'll put it like that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
In my
I hope
opinion, they
so.
should have put it on HBO Max.
Yeah.
But,
Well, I mean, HBO Max is in deeper shit than Netflix, right? So,
well, it's just about to join up with Discovery.
yeah, that's true. But
But
like, they're canceling like freaking properties like left and right, like Batgirl.
true.
Young Justice might get the axe. So apparently, and not my favorite DC animated series, but it's a pretty good one, right? I won't deny that it's pretty good. Last episode, I think they did a little bit too much too quickly, I think. So a lot of storylines.
Yeah.
Did you watch the last season?
I did.
Oh, okay. So I didn't realize you did. They did a little bit too much too quickly, I think. But all in all, I think it's a pretty decent series. So not better than like the Justice League Unlimited series, which is like
absolutely.
I throw that like that's a tippy to the top right there, right?
Yeah.
It's Batman the Animated Series, Justice League, that and the Unlimited series, maybe
Absolutely,
Batman
man.
Beyond and all the other ones. Yeah, but like it's not. Yes, it's not. But it's pretty good nonetheless. But yeah, no, thank you. I will definitely watch Sandman eventually. But
it's a must watch, bro. I'm telling you.
Yeah, I'm excited to watch it. At least season 1. It didn't leave on like a cliffhanger or anything, right? So you don't have to worry about like Netflix canceling a cliffhanger show because it didn't get the exact review.
There's some they set things up for the next season, but it doesn't end on a plot hanger. But it's like at the end, it's like, certain characters are like, yo, we're about to come back and do some things. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, hopefully like Netflix will get a chance. I know like Disney just surpassed them in terms of subscriber count. Disney Plus just did recently.
That was quick. God.
That was I mean, it's Disney. Like,
yeah, but I mean, Netflix has been like a staple.
Yeah,
I mean, you got a meme named after you, bro. Netflix and chill is part of like culture.
Yeah, that was part of the culture. Right? That's the pickup line that got overused.
Right? When did they surpass them? Like, how long has that been going on? I didn't even know that.
Literally a couple weeks ago. Like this is very recent. Very recent. Like they were on catching up. Really. I mean, look, it's the House of Mouse. Like they have like and I'll shamelessly admit I definitely watch Disney Plus more than I watch my Netflix. I usually use Netflix for just watching my documentaries and then rewatching some shows that I really enjoy, like some of my anime shows. By the way, I also have a Crunchyroll subscription. Just got that, and I've been watching.
It's equal for me. I just watched the Tekken anime series on Netflix. Trash. I'm not even sure why.
Is it live action or is it? Oh, it's anime.
Anime.
Oh
yeah. Terrible. That's the show you need to cancel. Don't waste your money. Cancel it, Netflix. ASAP.
Yeah.
Please.
They need to do a better job. Like, so I don't want to. Let's not spend too much time on Netflix. Let's not get into Netflix. Let's get into our next show.
She-Hulk.
Yeah, actually, not She-Hulk. We're gonna do House of the Dragon.
Oh yeah.
First. I don't have like my notes like written down for House of the Dragon, so that's why I kind of chose that one first. So, what'd you think of House of the Dragon?
First of all,
we saw lots of dragons.
Yeah, lots of dragons. I was excited about this show.
Yeah, I gotta admit, I was pretty excited. 10 million views. Like
Yeah,
10 million people showed that, watched it.
and
So
this
very
is
nice.
one reason why Warner Brothers will benefit from the Discovery merger is because Discovery has a better like tech stack
Yeah, that's
or
what the
whatever
CEO
like in the
said.
background, right? So one of the issues that's been plaguing HBO Max is like when they have a hot show and a whole bunch of people are trying to watch it, they start having issues.
Yeah,
So,
start freezing.
and that happened with House of Dragons.
Did you?
Uh,
Did that happen with you?
I didn't watch it the day it came out,
Me, I didn't either. So yeah, okay.
but I was hearing things, you know what I mean,
Yeah,
that they were having issues or whatever. But it was a
not the
pretty
first.
good first episode. I feel like it set up a lot of things um, to move forward with, and
Yeah,
I like the fact that it's based on material that George R. Martin already completed,
yeah,
so they can't
yeah,
screw it up this time.
yeah. It's based
Mind
on
you,
material.
I went back and watched the whole series, Game of Thrones,
Why?
because it's a classic. I love that show.
uh, the Game of
Yes,
Thrones. Game of Thrones first 4 seasons are really good. Um,
I went back and rewatched the whole series. I still
God, the
think it's
whole thing.
excellent. I
Even
know there was a
even the
lot of
last
flack
season.
for season 8, and that's only because it was rushed. But
Yeah,
I
I
still
think season
enjoyed it.
7 was rushed too. I think, but
I didn't hate it as much as I did initially when things were coming out about what they skipped
yeah,
over when I was just watching the series all the way through, and that's why I did it. I wondered if I would still hate season 8 as much as I did,
yeah,
and I didn't. I was okay with it.
yeah.
But this show, I like it. I think that the flack that the brother with the with the blonde locks is getting is BS. You know what I'm saying? I don't really get the hate.
Damon,
You know what I'm
Damon.
saying? Yeah, I haven't learned all the characters yet. I'm
Yeah.
sorry, y'all.
No,
I'm
I
sorry.
do. I do. I didn't read a review. I just didn't write everything down. But so Damon Targaryen, which is a very close name to demon, right? Um, right, is there. We got Princess Rhaenyra Targaryen. So that's the young girl that's there. You saw like when they're in the trees, and she's gonna become like more of a warrior princess, which I think they're gonna actually do her a little bit more justice than they did like Amelia um Amelia Clark's Targaryen. God, how bad is this? What was the Targaryen? What was Amelia Clark's character's name? Daenerys.
Daenerys? Good
Daenerys. I can't believe
grief! What's wrong
I,
with you?
I don't know what happened, man. Daenerys. I think they'll do right by her than they did Daenerys. Um, yeah. You saw the gold cloaks,
Yep.
right? Well, I mean, I don't think they were called the gold cloaks then. They're just called like the City Watch or something like that, right? So you get to see like the first part of that. You got to see King's Landing in a different light because you saw like the the pit where they held the dragons and some of the scaffoldings there that's a little bit taller. So
Yep.
I thought that was pretty cool.
It looked a little
Where
more like in its glory, like in its heyday.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
oh absolutely,
Did you get that? I
oh
got that.
yeah. You saw a more uh accurate portray of the Iron Throne, right? Constantly with
Yeah.
like all the swords and stuff, right? One thing I thought was interesting too was you saw you can get cut on the Iron Throne, right? Like the king has gotten himself cut. King Viserys has gotten himself cut a few times right
Yes.
there, um, which I thought was interesting because Daemon Targaryen didn't have that problem when he sat on the Iron Throne. He was just there.
Ooh.
Good. You see that, right?
Ooh.
He did not
Yeah.
have the problem at all. He was just chilling. There was
Yeah.
no problem there. He was like, "This might be mine. Kind of like this."
So
Right?
there was one scene in the first episode. Sorry, y'all. Just so everyone knows, obviously we're going live right now, so we're not watching the new episode right now.
Yeah. Maybe
But
watch this before you watch the House of Dragons, House of the Dragon, right? This will give you some more context.
exactly.
Not to mention HBO Max is probably screwing it up anyway because of the tech stack, but
Watch it the next day. Watch it the next
watch
day.
it the next day.
No,
By the way,
but
20 million people watched it.
there
20
was a
million people, not 10
scene
million.
there was a scene where he's with his wife and she's giving birth to that child, and I guess there were some issues or whatever, and he made the decision, you know, for them to cut her open and have the baby
Yeah.
rather than just saving her,
She
right?
was the child was breached. So it was coming out the child was coming out foot first, right?
Yeah,
Instead of head first.
yeah.
They couldn't turn her around. That was a tough scene too. She
That struck a
also
chord
started
with me,
too.
bro.
Yeah,
That
that
struck a
was a
chord with
tough
me,
scene.
obviously, because when your wife is about to have your baby or whatever, like you get flashes, you get
Yeah,
there's some things, there's some real fears there. It's like, yo, what if something happens, right? Like, God
yeah.
forbid, like, what do I do? Like, I'd be lost without my wife, right? So it's just like,
Doesn't yeah.
when
Does
I
she
was
does
watching that scene, I was like, dude,
yeah.
like, what if the wife came to you? I mean, what if the doctor came to you? It's like, who do you want to save? Right? It's
Yeah, you gotta
like,
make a tough decision. Yeah. Gotta make a tough decision. Right. No, that's a great point. That's a great point.
I couldn't imagine,
Um
bro.
no, no. So yeah, so the child was breached. And earlier in that episode, right, they were talking about how like she was like, "Hey, I think I'm done having kids. Like this is the
Yes,
last one." Right?
yes.
Because I've tried giving you a son, which by the way I think is hilarious. It's usually the husband's fault that you don't have a child. Like we have this, and during ancient times, right? We've blamed the woman for not having a son, and it's usually the husband's fault that gives the Y chromosome, which will give him a son. But anyway,
I don't. I mean,
I thought it was funny. I just think it's funny. I don't.
that's not something I really like believe in either. Like, I don't really think it's anybody's fault because there's a whole bunch of
Yeah,
there's a whole bunch of myths around there, right? It's like,
yeah,
what position did you do it in? Did you time it correctly? All these other
yeah,
there's a whole bunch of factors,
yeah.
right? So
It's
just to
random.
blame the woman or
Yeah,
blame the man, you can't.
yeah.
You're
It's
meant to have what you
random.
have. Just my
It's
opinion.
random. It's random, right? You don't. It's random,
Yeah.
right? You should have won. Okay, let's get. Let's not get into the
Hey,
the science specifics of it. Yeah.
hey, my shooters was accurate. We do whatever. We doing everything, man. Baby girls, baby boys. We're versatile over here. We're versatile.
Accurate shooters. Talk your shit, man.
Hey, we're feeling good. We're
I
feeling good,
respect
man.
that. I can respect that. Talk your shit. Yeah. So yeah, she talks to him at the beginning of the episode. It's like, hey, I'm done. Like they had a bunch of kids. They all were the past. You have this one, Renea Targaryen, right? Who wants to be a warrior king, and I think it looks like she has like a thing with her friend, right? Um,
I'm getting those vibes.
yeah, I got those vibes too that they have a thing for each other. But it also looks like her friend, like her friend's dad, right? Lady Alice Hightower, right? Um, her dad's a dick. Because you saw what he did, right? He was like, "Hey, you should go comfort him
I
tonight." And
should
what did
go
your
to
mother
the
say?
king's chambers.
Yeah, I love how she
What
said,
shall I say?
"I don't think you got to say anything,
My man was
motherfucker."
like, you don't gotta say shit. He'll get the idea.
Yeah. What I like though about what happened was that she brought her book of history, right? And
Yes.
then she empathized with him. She actually said, "Hey, you know what? No one's told me when my mom passed. No one said, "Hey, how are you doing? Are you okay? I'm sorry it happened. So let me just give that to you, right?" And that which makes sense because he had to make a impossible decision, right? Impossible decision based on the parameters of what he knows, right? Like there's
Right.
always been a male heir, right? So you need to have a son, right? And Yeah, he had to choose between that and his wife. Also, when you made that point too, makes you wonder about like abortion and choice, right?
Yeah.
You know, her body, her choice. Like he took his wife's choice away from her, right? If you think about it from that way, by forcing her to have a baby, right? And she died of it, and the baby eventually dies after that because yeah.
Yep. Yep.
But that's also I thought that was actually very telling, right? Forced pregnancy is essentially what
Oof.
happened, which is kind
Hey,
of
but
telling
yeah, I mean,
right now. So
when you look at things from his, I mean, yeah, it was two very different perspectives, right? Because I mean,
yeah,
she's trying to give him what he wants, and at the same time, he's worried about his legacy and all of that stuff too. So,
yeah,
and you could hear him say that in the show because when he called her down, um, you know, to where the dragons were or whatever, he was like, I'm so focused on having a son, I
yeah,
didn't see you. You know what
yeah.
I mean? And he starts talking to her, and I feel like he probably realized like she was the rightful heir like this whole time anyway, right?
Yeah.
So definitely.
So I think, what do you think about the diversity of like Game of Thrones?
Um, this is one of those things that we talked about before, right? Like it depends on how for me, I'm about the source material, right? So
Hmm.
I mean, if the source material is written a certain way, simply doing these gender or race swaps, it doesn't really make a big deal to me personally because I look at the source material. Like for me, again, I don't want Hollywood to simply check a box.
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
I
Fair
need
enough.
representation. I think this character isn't mainstream enough
Yeah.
for anyone to care that they are now black or gay or whatever, right? So I kind of just
No.
throw my hands up on stuff like that. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
No. Good
I want
point.
I
Good
want
point.
original I want original characters. I want characters who are meant to be a certain way to be in the material, not just let me check this box because I know that
Yeah.
black people watch it.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing about that box check. I think it makes a great point in the sense that if you're just doing it to check a box, then you're not really seeing that person for what they are or what they are
Exactly.
and what they go through, right?
Yes.
Right. You being a black character and a person of power, right? In a situation, people are going to try to undercut and belittle wherever they can, right?
Every
If you're
chance
just
they
checking
get.
a box, like so, for example, let's talk about John Boyega, right? For from Star Wars, right? One of the very few black characters, right, in Star Wars, and was the one of the faces of Star Wars, right? You had a black male and a white female heading one of the most popular franchises, right?
And they
Episode
didn't do anything with it.
No, they really
They
didn't.
wasted it.
Nor did they didn't. Not only they didn't really defend him when they needed to. Like episode 3 of Star Wars, his character was taken back a lot, right?
Yeah.
Just a whole bunch because he wanted to be successful in China because China they don't do well with black characters being like the face of things.
Yeah.
Um,
He just
but
he
yeah,
just
that's
he
just kind of
just
how it
screamed
is.
her name for two
Yeah,
hours, which was
no.
great. Ray, 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 Ray.
But the woman that played Rose too, right? Like
Yeah,
she got shit.
they did her worse than they did
They
John Boyega's character
Yeah,
for sure.
she got shitted on. And this is kind of what happens when you kind of just throw someone there to be just to check a box. If you're not willing to defend that and and go to bat for that person, what are you doing? Right? Like it's not enough just to kind of put them there, right? There are reasons why they're not there. It's because there's a lot of ignorance in the world, right? So that's the thing.
Of
So
course.
the guy that plays him, Steve Toussaint, he plays Lord Cloris of Valerion, known as the Sea Snake, right? So apparently this was before the whatchamacallit, the Lannisters, it looks like. So apparently this guy was richer than the Lannisters, apparently. So that's pretty cool. I'm interested to see where they take with it. I will say this: I'm
You saw
happy
the
for the
Starks there, right?
yeah. I did see the Starks there. The guy looked like just grushled, like
Yeah,
he just looked he definitely looked like a Stark
yeah,
to me.
yeah.
Um, no, I'm happy for the diversity cast. It never bothered me as much with some of these medieval magic type shows because if you look at Game of Thrones, like where people getting beheaded and burned by dragons and shit, and just all the nasty things that happens in that series, I'm okay with not having black people be put
Yeah.
there in the way of that. I'm like, we don't need
But look
diversity
at
here. You
you.
guys can
But
have that. You guys can have
look
that.
at
But
when you look at the representation, even with Game of Thrones, right? Like
yeah,
when you are in Westeros, Winterfell, or whatever, mostly white, right?
yeah.
Then you start going outside of that, where you're seeing slavery and all this other stuff. What characters were those? Minority
I'll
characters,
say I'll say darker skinned characters.
right? With the
They were much
slavery and
darker
all this other
skinned.
stuff, all these extremes, and
Hmm. Yeah, no,
you
absolutely,
know,
absolutely. Yeah. No,
so
so I'm happy to see cast of it. I can't wait to see the next episode of it. We shall see. It looks like Renea. So you'll see an older version of her in the episodes later. But I kind of like this actress who's playing Renea, and I kind of liked the sisterhood or whatever the will they won't they that she has with her friend here.
yeah,
Um, that
yep,
is there, even though her father is a douche. No, I really. Oh, one thing I forgot to point out too that I thought was great. Right, so her father, who like is a king, right? Like the Targaryens, they have their power because of the dragons, right? And he goes like they're a power that we should have never trifled with, right?
yes.
Which I thought was very,
I
very
thought that
telling.
was interesting.
Yeah, that was good. And even Renea, um, summoned her inner Daenerys, right? Where she was like, "Look, without these dragons, we're just like everyone else, right?"
Yep.
That's what she said. Without these dragons, we're just like anyone else, right? And that's something that Daenerys said in season 8 when she was talking to Jon Snow, right, about the dragons, right? And which I thought was awesome and amazing. Not season 8, I think it was season 7, I believe, of that. So yeah, it's a really really good series. I think so far, a good start to that. Oh, they also talked about. Of course, you got to call a shout out the song of Fire and Ice, right? So the reason why he took over Westeros was because um, of a dream of the White Walkers, right? That's what he
Yes.
did say.
Yeah.
So, Dream of the White Walkers. I forgot how far ahead of the Game of Thrones was. 172 years or
Yeah.
something.
172 years. And so
Yeah,
what I thought
yeah,
was
172
interesting
years.
about that too was that the prophecy that as he told it pretty much came true.
Yeah.
That they were going to need a Targaryen to unite everyone.
Well, to sit on the
Daenerys to
throne.
unite everyone, or sit on the throne,
Yeah.
right?
Which the Targaryen was not sitting on the throne, but Daenerys
Yeah.
and Jon Snow, both Targaryens, were the ones that were trying to get people together. They essentially won the war. You also saw the dagger that Arya Stark used to kill the Night King. I think that was probably the best moment in
Love
season
that.
8.
Love how they
I
snuck
think.
that in there. Yeah.
Yeah. Best
Yeah.
moment of season 8, I think, right? Like Arya Stark. That was so hyped when I saw that. Like seriously, like Arya Stark coming in like, yeah! And then there's the Night King catch her arm and she dropped. She pulled that move. That's the second time she pulled that move where she dropped the knife, catch with the other hand, and then stabs him.
Yeah.
Like, so good. Oh
Yeah.
man, I was super hyped when I saw that. I was like, freaking Arya, you're that chick, man.
Yeah, man.
Uh, yeah,
It's
no.
also a good test for your TV because that episode was dark as hell. So if you can't watch that episode the way it was meant to be watched, it's time for a new TV, people.
But back to that ACR 4K TV. That's so true. That is so true. Okay, let's go ahead. Our final stuff.
She
We did a
Hulk.
good one. She-Hulk. Let's get into it. Right. So, what are your general thoughts on She-Hulk?
I feel like I need to retract some of the things that I said in an earlier episode because
Okay.
I read an article about, oh, they're going to make She-Hulk better than the Hulk, She-Hulk better than the Hulk. Uh, and it was clickbaity type stuff, and they're just going off the trailer. But after watching the show, I didn't necessarily get that. Right?
No.
I feel like he still held his own, but then
Yeah.
it made me think about there's one key component about the Hulk, right? It's like he has to be angry
Yeah.
to unleash his full potential, right? So
And he's not
he
angry
he
anymore.
isn't
Yeah.
he isn't really angry here, and that's one
Yeah.
of the weaknesses of the Smart Hulk, right? Because
Yeah.
there's an issue. I mean, I've been reading these comments for years or whatever, right? But there's an issue where Smart Hulk is fighting the Juggernaut, and he gets his ass kicked. But one of the explanations is because he's not angry, right? It's just him in his base form or whatever,
Yeah.
for whatever that's worth or whatever, right?
Yeah. And the anger
So
he gets, the anger he gets, the stronger he gets, right?
right,
Like we definitely have like the comic book Hulk is scary strong.
yeah.
Scary
I mean
strong.
that's
Red
that's
Hulk,
the
Immortal
strongest
Hulk, yeah.
character.
World Breaker Hulk, yeah. Comic book
Yeah,
Hulk is like is scary strong. So I'm kind of happy we don't have that. I think Marvel has enough OP characters, to be honest with you, that they need to
yeah.
contend with. Yeah, I didn't see that either. A lot of it, I find it fascinating that whenever we have like these women-led like series, a lot of thin-skinned males want to review bomb it, right? Um, and I'll admit, I don't think
True.
the series is great. Like it's awesome. Definitely not the best MCU series, but it's a decent series, right?
It's
At least
different.
about
I
the first
mean, it's
episode.
it's
It's
a
definitely
it's a
different.
yeah.
I love the fourth wall breaking. That's one of the things. I do think it poses a question about responsibility with those with power, right? Um, if you have power, what is your responsibility? Just to kind of sit there, or do you have an obligation to save and protect people, right? I think this show started off pretty strong too, because if you saw in her office as well, she had like a figuring of RBG, Ruth Baker Ginsburg, Bob bobblehead. I actually have this written down wrong. I said RGB. It's supposed to be RBG. Um, you see a Michelle Obama statue. There's like an Ally McBeal like statue, which is what the series is kind of based off of, like these lawyer shows and whatnot. Um, you saw the Shakar ship, right? That crashed, that forced her to crash, right? Apparently, she was giving Hulk a message that may have some more. We'll get into that a little bit later, right? As to what that actually means, the Shakar ship. Um,
Right.
but yeah, that happened. Hulk may have a kid. That's kind of what that means. We'll
Well,
see. Well,
that's in the comics though.
that's
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 in the
that's in the
comics,
comics.
right?
That's in the comics, right? So he may have a kid. Um, so yeah,
But
in the
I
comics,
think the show did a good job of kind of highlighting the differences between the two Hulks, right? Because
yeah,
she, just the way that she handles it is a little bit different than
yeah,
Bruce's
yeah,
thing, and I think Bruce like has some inner traumas or whatever that kind of made his
yeah,
thing like a little bit different, right? But
yeah.
if you just because it's different, for all the people out there who are worried or whatever, like, oh, just different doesn't mean somebody's
Better,
better than the other, right?
yeah.
Like,
And I don't
you
think
know what I
they
mean? So
undermined Hulk at all. I don't think they did.
I don't think so at all, man.
Yeah,
Not at
I
all.
think a
You know
lot
what I
of the
mean?
times with some of these, in a lot of these episodes, to empower, and we see this in older movies as well. Like I'm a huge James Bond, and the older James Bond, they definitely belittled their female characters a lot.
It's the
Um,
'60s.
yeah, but that was like the sixties and fifties. Yeah, but still, it was bad. But um, like in these newer episodes, so I think again we talked about Captain Marvel all the time, right? where they messed up was where they were trying to have her like go up against these guys and like have like this like almost belittling type feel. I don't know. I know that wasn't like the intent, maybe, or maybe it was. The scene that screams out at me was the time where they were on the ship and the Kree were like scanning all these people and they just scanned the cat and it's like this is a Flurkin, super like dangerous, and then they scan like Nick Fury and it's like human male, not dangerous at all, right? And of course he didn't scan anyone else, but that's like a very telling moment, right? Like
Yeah.
of you trying to like solve a narrative, where
But
like the
it's
story
stuff
was
like that
great.
that's just like it's
Yeah,
not necessary. Like
it's
that,
like, ugh. But the best
right?
part of that movie was, again, I mentioned this before, her and Rambeau having that heart to heart,
Yeah.
right? That woman power. That was freaking awesome, right? Give me more of that. And you saw a little bit of that in this series as well, right? With her and like her best friend, right?
Her assistant.
Her
Yeah. Yeah, her
paralegal,
paralegal.
right?
Love
She
her
was like,
character, by the way.
yeah, she was her paralegal was hyping her up, like, you got this, or that, like, that's pretty cool. And then you had like the douchebag, like, assistant DA there being a dick, but that's
He was
whatever.
funny though because he was like, "So you're gonna listen to a paralegal and not a seasoned lawyer?" Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Which it doesn't, right? So I
Yeah.
was like, I thought that was pretty
Well, I
funny.
mean, if the season lawyer is a dick,
He is
like,
right. Well, I mean, yeah. I mean, this. Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
Keep in mind the season lawyer, he wanted to take the closing from her too.
yeah,
That's
yeah. Yeah, he
that's
was
that's
trying
the
to take it from her. Yeah, for sure,
yeah.
for sure.
So yeah, no, that's pretty cool. In the
I like the way
comics,
they build up her character because
yeah,
she's they differentiate her from her cousin, right? I think in her
yeah,
Hulk form, um, you see the increased confidence, and she's almost a little bit of a show off too, right?
yeah.
Like the way she's doing the
Well, you see
yoga,
her.
trying to
I
show up
think,
her cousin, and
yeah.
everything is like she's just
I
trying
like
to
I
show her
like
cousin.
I like the sibling rivalry there, even
I
though they're
did,
not siblings. Like I like the fight. I liked how like
yeah,
he punched her and she flipped him off.
yeah,
Like, you
yeah,
asshole. I like that. I
yeah.
like the fight scene, right?
I did,
Um,
and that was
yeah,
why I changed my mind because I was like, I didn't. I expected them to make it so like, oh, she's gonna own the Hulk, and the Hulk has to retire. But you
no,
know, it
I
it,
think
it was
I think they respected
very
him.
well done. Very well done.
I think they respected the characters really, really well. I
Yes,
think.
yes.
Um, I think. I think so. The actress who plays the Hulk, I forgot her name is Tatiana Maslany. I'll have to look that one up. Beautiful actress, very beautiful woman. Tatiana Maslany as Maslania. Maslania. So I think I got it closer right. Um, so yeah, very beautiful woman. Just got married, so congrats to her.
Oh yeah.
Um, yeah, congrats to
So,
her.
what did you think about the way that She Hulk looked? Because that was a big thing too.
All right, I was gonna get into that. Um, so Tatiana Maslany, beautiful woman, right? You see her when she acts, though she's very expressionable, and I say this knowing that there is a stigma with how we judge women in our
Of course.
society, right? So that's not lost on me, right? That being said, there are parts where the CGI for her was really, really good, and there are parts where the CGI definitely needs improvement. I was watching a review. I'll get back. I'll do more, a little bit more into like the CGI effects a little bit later. I was reading a review from a guy called Heavy Spoilers, right? So he does reviews just like New Rockstars or whatever. And I think he made a couple interesting points about like the first episode on how like when she got her power, she like mastered everything really, really quickly. But at the same time, like there's no real growth there, right? You saw in the Miss Marvel series, uh, where she got her powers, but she had to learn essentially throughout the whole series, right? Each episode was like a step of her understanding her
Yes.
power, figuring it out, and getting that. You don't really see that with her because it's like, okay, mastered, couple weeks, done, right? Um, so maybe we won't see a lot of that later, but we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see. I am frustrated that they're review bombing. I'm looking at IMDb and it's like 55.2 out of 10. I'm like, you guys are review
Yeah.
bombing.
Screw them. Yeah.
That, that,
Screw those people, man.
that's messed up.
But now I brought up the thing about the way the Hulk looked because
Yeah,
that was a
yeah,
point of contention among
yeah.
some
There are a
people.
couple
Like some
things.
people wanted her to be like super buff, and then I guess there was another
Yeah,
contingent that wanted to be another way. I thought they struck a nice balance. Like, and if you look at the art from the comic books,
yeah,
it's all dependent on the way the artist draws her, right?
yeah,
And the way this particular Hulk looks, um, I think I think that was a good balance.
yeah.
Um,
I thought so.
she looks more like an Olympian or something like that, right? She has, a
A
sufficient
gymnastic,
amount of
not
muscle.
a bodybuilder, but a gymnast type of
Yeah, she
body.
has
Yeah,
a sufficient amount of muscle, but she
yeah,
still retains, a feminine form, and that's something that's I feel like was has definitely been caught in a lot of issues
yeah,
of her book. So I appreciated that. Like,
yeah.
what I mean, I thought she looked good. So
A
I'll give
lot
them
of
that.
people don't understand too. Women can be muscular and effeminate at the same time. That is very possible, right?
Yeah,
Um, and I think that's probably telling too much more my preference in terms of like looks. I think, right?
right. I mean, they did the
Where
same thing with Wonder Woman, right? Who I feel like
yeah,
is pretty much almost a DC equivalent as far as
Wonder
strength is
Woman.
concerned. Wonder Woman, yeah, because
Yeah, yeah,
when Gal Gadot got casted, it was like, oh,
yeah,
she's too skinny and
yeah.
and not only did she kill the role, but
She
again,
bulked
go
up.
back to the books. This is someone who's been empowered like magically to
Magic.
have
She doesn't need to be
this
super
strength.
yoked.
So she
Yeah,
doesn't have to be like super yoked like that. You know what I'm saying?
that's true.
So,
That's very true.
you know, um,
Yeah,
so I
yeah,
like, I think they did a good job. Like you said, I do agree. Some of the CGI is, eh.
yeah. There's some
Um,
parts of it that I wasn't a fan of. Like if you look at, and I'll try to look at this in the lens of, like I said earlier, like we are more critical of women's bodies than men's, just how society is and just how effed up we are. But if you look at Mark Ruffalo and like his Hulk, like you can see the wrinkles on his face. You can see like the grisliness of his beard, like the little stubble there,
yeah,
right? With her face, like, and mind you, she's a woman, so you're not gonna see like stubble like that. But if you look at Ty Sabasi's face, you
it's
see
super
wrinkles. You
smooth.
see, yeah, it's all smooth. Like the texture's like overly smooth, like almost unrealistic, right?
Yeah,
Um, it almost as if they try to perfect her when they don't need to, right?
yeah,
And you can see with some of like her facial expressions, like if you see her without her Hulk form, her facial expressions are great. You see like the wrinkles on her face. You see they're like when she frowns or upsets or whatever, right? There was one scene I thought was like great when she was walking to like the office, and the guy asked her like, "What do you think about this?" She goes, "Oh, I think I'm ambivalent or something." So she said some shit like that, right? And then she breaks the fourth wall and was like, "I'm gonna worry the rest of the year of why I said it like that," and then turns back around. But her facial expression right there was damn near perfect. Like I
yeah,
actually stopped and rewinded that. I was like, "That's awesome," right?
yeah,
When she was walking right by him, it looked a little awkward, maybe because she was barefoot, because she had to transform into Hulk and
yeah.
like like she didn't realize, so maybe because it was barefoot. There, it's not great. But then again, they've had years to perfect Mark Ruffalo's Hulk, and they didn't have that type kind of time with her. So
I mean,
I could
his
also
has evolved too. Because if you look at the first
yeah,
Avengers, you can
oh
kind
yeah,
of tell that they based the model off of Gorilla,
yeah,
right? The
yeah,
way he bangs on the floor, his arms like look like a little extra longer,
yeah,
his stance and everything.
yeah,
And then as you go forward, like if you look at Ragnarok, he doesn't have like that gorilla look
yeah,
anymore, right? They kind of
yeah,
changed it.
yeah.
So,
They've
and it
had
might have
10
something to do with his
years.
evolution too.
Yeah,
So,
they've had 10 years to perfect Hulk. So
yeah,
this
yeah.
is kind of her first one. So I'm hoping that they improve it. Right.
I mean, even if you look at Ang Lee's Hulk, right? Overly muscular, in my opinion. And then you
Yeah.
go to Edward Norton's Hulk, he's kind of built like a football player.
Yeah.
And then you go to the Hulk in the Avengers, of course, and you have like the gorilla type thing. So,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, it all depends on who's doing the graphics.
And it's exciting. Oh, by the way, we saw the inhibitors from Shang-Chi. So at
We
the end of
did,
Shang-Chi, he was like in his normal form with a slingshot, right? And we were wondering what the fuck's happened. Well, he had an inhibitor on, which made him like not a Hulk. So I thought that was actually pretty cool.
yes.
Um, we saw something from the Roxxon Corporation. right? So the Roxxon Corporation has been a lot throughout Marvel lore, right? We saw that in I think one of the first Iron Man. We saw that in Loki. Um, I think I think it may be tied to King the Conqueror, right? You heard it here
Ooh.
first. You heard it here first, right? I think the Roxxon Corporation is tied to King the Conqueror.
Okay.
That's
Okay. Okay.
like that's
I
when
mean,
if that comes
he
out to be true, I'm gonna pull it up right here. What so we're at a minute, an hour and five, right? Check this
the
out.
Roxxon Corporation also showed up in the Thor storyline, Gore the God Butcher,
Oh, I didn't realize that. Oh, the
um,
storyline, the
in the
comic
comic
storyline,
books.
not the
Yeah,
movie.
not in the
Yeah,
movie, in the comics.
yeah,
So yeah, I mean, hey, you never know. You
yeah.
never know. I'm looking
Um,
forward to King the Conqueror. Looking
yeah,
forward to that.
yeah. I will say this too. So what I one of the things I thought was really interesting was that so we talked about this a little bit with Captain America, well, Falcon and Winter Soldier, now Captain America and Winter Soldier, right? With like the flag and how that means different things to different people, right? Perception. Like you may see that flag and have all these things of freedom and like how you're empowered to be free, and others may see that flag and see a promise not fulfilled, right?
Yes.
Bringing it back to this one where he talks about uh, being able to control your stress and be calm and whatnot, right? And like you have to learn to calm down. Like her as a woman, right? I'm sure she gets it from all the people, especially her douchebag district attorney friend, to calm down, right? Um, that just kind of tells you like different things mean different things to different people, right?
Yeah.
Her being an attorney, I thought that was actually pretty cool, right? Her being an attorney, being a woman attorney, right? Um, you can't show a certain amount of aggression or masculinity because it makes some people feel uncomfortable, right? So that's actually one good thing that I liked about this series so far is they're showing a lot of microaggressions right now. That's pretty cool. By the way, in the comics, her best friend gets killed, and Bruce alludes to that, was like when you become a superhero, you get a big target on your back in your
Yep.
friends,
I
right?
think old girl
So,
might die. I think old girl
yeah,
might die.
yeah. So yeah, I do love the ending scene montages with like the cartoons and like
Yeah.
all that stuff. I thought that was actually pretty cool as
I
well.
like that. I like that they have post credits. It seems like they're doing post credits after every
Yeah,
episode. I do like that as well.
yeah.
Um,
Um,
so that was pretty cool.
Tatiana, right? Who? Okay, I do want to kind of I'm gonna dig the series a little bit. So Tatiana came out of nowhere in like the first episode. She just attacked the courtroom for no real reason, right? Just attacked the courtroom, and She-Hulk was like, "Okay, F it."
Oh, you mean
I'll
Titania? Titania.
Titania. I could call it Titania. Titania. Um, yeah. So Titania attacks the room for no real reason, and like Hulk like beats her ass, right? But that just came out of nowhere, right? And we don't see her again in the next episode, or why she does it, or anything, or why she attacked. We just know that she's a super influencer, which think is fucking hilarious. I totally
Yeah.
see that happening. If human
Yes.
beings got superpower, there's gonna be a fucking influencer like, hey guys, this is my morning routine, da 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 da, right? All that
I
BS.
can see myself doing the same thing. So yeah, I'm not
Yeah.
gonna lie.
So
I
yeah.
like
Oh,
the
by
scenes
the
with
way, her
Abomination.
character has a Twitter account. By the way, an actual Twitter account, Titania.
Oh, might have to check that
Yeah.
out.
Yeah. Go ahead, man.
Um, no, I like the scenes with Abomination and his
Yeah.
explanations about things.
Yeah.
And when the thing came up about him breaking out of prison, it made me think about things from like a timeline perspective, right? Like, does this happen like during Shang-Chi? Has he does he break out and then he's whatever he's doing with Shang-Chi? Is it before or after that? So I'm a
Yeah.
little confused about that because when they
Timeline.
were interrogating him, they showed the fighting tournament images of him from Shang-Chi, right? And he was still in prison, and you come to find out that he broke out. So
Yeah. So the series takes place after Shang-Chi, right? A little bit
okay,
after Shang-Chi, right? Um, so yeah, he broke out. But what I find fascinating with that is that that's would be a high security prison, right? He shouldn't be leaving without anyone knowing, unless Wong did some magic thing to kind of trick people that he was like not there when he's supposed to be there. I'm not sure.
yes,
We saw the cage in Shang-Chi, the same cage. I think they did a kind of linking the two. What I'm curious about is why did like he do it, right? Like why did he break
yes,
out Abomination? Um, in the trailer, he talks about how our multiverse is in the precipice, whatever, and that's when she makes a joke about we do things by the book, and he goes the book of Vishanti, and he goes no, the actual legal book, whatever. Um, so I'm sure we'll see some of that explanation. I hope it's a good explanation, honestly, in the next episode. I think he's going to be in. I think it's going to be in. Whatchamacallit, the Thunderbolts movie that's coming out. So Marvel's coming out with the Thunderbolts movie. It's going to be essentially the Suicide Squad.
yeah. Oh, of course, of
And
course.
I
But
already
somehow,
know. Go
but
ahead, man.
we
No,
started talking at the same time. I
yeah,
said somehow Marvel will do that like way better than DC did.
uh, yeah, yeah. No, yeah. I think he's going to be in the Thunderbolts. We already saw Hercules. Oh, by the way, I saw Thor: Love and Thunder again last night with a friend. Liked it much better the second time, but I think I see Thor: Love and I think Hulk, Hercules, and what else? Obviously, U.S. Agent and Abomination are going to be in that group. I think, just little bit of predictiveness there. When she got the job at this new place, right from the comic books, right? She was in a bar. She was getting drunk because she got fired. Um, and I think a little bit of a microaggression where she, what did she say? She got fired because apparently the guy had the thing declared a mistrial because he felt the jury was like swayed in her favor because she saved their lives or whatever. Um, which might be a microaggression. I'm not sure, but oh yeah. Oh, forgot to mention a couple things. Wolverine cameo was there.
In the on the internet page, I saw that
Yes,
man with metal
yes,
claws gets in a bar fight. Yes.
yes. Wolverine cameo
You
actually
know what's
happened.
funny? You know what's funny? As being the sneaker nerd that I am, I focused more on the fact that there was something called the Iron Man threes than
Yes, I'll
than the
tell you about that.
Wolverine midget.
So I'll tell you about that too. The Iron Man threes, they were actually Tony I said Tony Stark shoes. I don't know if they're Iron Man shoes or Tony Stark shoes, but Adidas actually made those.
Yeah,
Marvel and like Adidas went on a partnership, and those are actually real shoes. I don't know if they got up to Iron Man threes, but
yeah,
um, yeah, they had the black guy on like the TV, like giving a
yes,
report, and I was kind of like, oh boy,
yeah,
because black
yeah.
people in this. Oh, you may recognize the guy because apparently he's the same guy in Black Lightning. I don't know if you watched Black Lightning, the series. Um,
Dude, of course I did. I was the one telling you about it. What you talking about?
yeah, did you recognize that guy?
No.
This dude.
I gotta watch it again. I gotta watch it again. I
Yeah,
probably did. I just didn't connect the dots.
yeah. That's well. I mean, if I didn't, I just read reviews, so yeah, that's
I did see some. So there was one thing I wanted to talk about. Right, I feel like there were some inconsistencies with the way that the two characters talked about their anger. Right. So
okay.
if you go back to Avengers 1, uh, they're asking Banner about like how he deals with the Hulk and all that stuff. They ask him all these questions or whatever. He's like, yeah, my secret is I'm always angry,
Yeah.
right? And then he turns to the Hulk, he punches the alien in the face, and they get going with the Battle of New York. You switch over to this show, and she talks about all the things that happened to her, that make her angry,
Yeah.
and it's just interesting to me how like because she says all the things that happen to her on the daily that make her angry, and that's one of the reasons why she's so good at managing things. But
Yeah.
it's like Banner already has it's already been stated that Banner is always angry, and he's learned to also manage his anger very well too, right? If he's always angry and he shows that he can turn to the Hulk at will when he needs to, which he did in the Avengers. You know what I mean? It was just like it was just kind of weird. It was just like in this show they're
Oh,
making it like what I mean, like he um I know it took a long time for him to kind of master you know being the Hulk, but it was like if he's already saying that he's always angry, what's the difference between that and her saying, hey, I go through life every day being angry because I get cat calls and all this other stuff. It's to me it was the same thing, right? I didn't really
yeah.
get the difference between that,
That's a
right?
good point. That's a good point.
So I'm
Maybe
just
she
like,
also had,
when
I
she
think
said
her
all that, I was
experience.
like, so like your cousin just has already said like he's always angry. So I almost felt like I was just like he should just be like shut up and listen. you know, you know what I'm saying? Like it's like so you
Yeah,
know what I
I
mean?
don't know. I don't know. I mean, I
But
thought that was actually pretty well thought. I think it actually makes more sense now that's how she's able to go back and forth and kind of deep into that anger because she's always suppressing it almost, right? I talked
I
to a
don't
lot of my
know. I
female
don't think it's a
colleagues.
result of her. I don't know if this. I mean, I guess in the show they're trying to make it a result of her anger, but to me, it just seems like what it kind of goes back to what Bruce was saying. The way she is processing the gamma radiation is just different than the way
Yeah,
he did it. Like I think he had
yeah,
some you know built-in traumas or whatever, and she for whatever from her side is she's different than him. You know what I mean?
yeah,
So
yeah. No, I concur. I concur. I mean, I thought it was that was very telling to me when she said that. And I had like a brunch with a couple of my friends, and she was telling me about her anxiety that she goes through work a lot.
right,
Um, she's like a female manager. And then one of my good friends I was hanging out with last night, she was telling me about some anxiety because she's a saleswoman for Salesforce. Um, going through a lot of anxieties that she goes through with work as well. So it's a different perspective that I don't think we
well, of course,
can really tap
I'm not
into.
gonna get it.
Yeah, we can never do that uh, due diligence with that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought that was pretty interesting.
It just
One
seemed to
other
me that
thing,
I drew the conclusion like they're both always angry. So I wasn't
yeah,
sure why we
well, I
were
don't think Hulk is angry
focusing on
anymore.
it.
I don't think he's angry anymore, right?
Not like he was, right?
Yeah,
But this, I mean, he went through
yeah,
life being angry too.
yeah. I will say this though. Um, there's one other thing. So we talked about the Adidas shoes. We talked about Wolverine cameo. Um, statue of a man stretching a head in the ocean. There was that as
Eternals
well.
reference.
Eternals
Yep.
reference. That was a shit movie too, but I'm happy you're totally ignoring that. That was a fucking shit of a movie. Uh, God, the movie sucked. Worst Marvel movie. Worst Marvel movie by far. MC movie by far. Um,
Still
Mainly
Captain
because it was
Marvel
way
for
too
me.
many characters. Nah, I think that was
Yeah,
by far the worst.
couldn't get into it.
Yeah, it just had too much going on too quickly. But yeah, I got through most of everything I wanted to talk about there. So yeah, no, I'm happy for the series. Can't wait for the next series to come out. I do want to do one. Let me show you one thing right quick. A little off topic. I'll be right back. Okay, wait. 5 seconds.
All right, 4,
Three.
3, 2,
So my friends, they went to Puerto Rico, and they saw this, and they thought about me initially, and this is what they got me. They got me a mug full of. Let me actually adjust my camera here so it's not all glare and shit. Um, all right, it's a little bit better. So you can see it's not that great, but still, it's a superhero woman, an Afro Latino superhero woman who fights for social justice. And I don't know why they initially thought of me when they saw this, but I'm not
Okay.
mad at it. So, and it's a mug. So they gave this to me today. Uh, Shout out to Jake and Alex. So shout out. They gave this to me today. Um, and they've watched the show before too, so they're supporters. So I again very appreciative. This is the mug, right, that they gave me. So can't wait to start using this. I'll be pissed if I ever broke this. And inside here, there are chocolates, right?
Okay.
I see, I think 3 or 4 chocolate bars. Yeah, there are 4 chocolate bars, and each chocolate bar unlocks a comic book strip, right? So there are comic book strips in all these chocolate bars. So again, Jake and Alex, thank you very much for this. I cannot wait to look into this some more. My Spanish is trash, so I need
Don't do
to.
it. Please don't do
Oh,
don't
I'm not.
try to read it.
I'm not even. I'm not even gonna attempt. Um, I was speaking Spanish last night to a friend just to screw around, and I was like, "Como te llama?" means "How is your day?" And he goes, "No, that's not what it means." It's like what's your name or something like
I think it means
that.
like what's your name? Something like
Yeah,
that. But
yeah, yeah,
actually, so for me, for some closing thoughts, real quick, because I was in the hospital for so long,
yeah.
waiting for my son to be born, I finished the 2 graphic novels from Black Sands. Great material, highly recommended. I will be following that series in the
Yes.
future,
Let me actually
and
order my
then
Black Band stuff too, so I can. We need to do a review.
yeah,
Yeah.
we should. We absolutely should. The other point I'd like to make is that the beds that they have for the fathers are still trash. Absolute trash. Respect for the fathers is needed. I mean, I know we're third class citizens in the hospital at that point, but I mean, I got to sleep there too, right? I mean,
I
this
was a
joint was
part
so
of making this
terrible.
baby. I may not be in
Yeah,
labor, but
I mean,
I did my part.
I am a reason, right? But it's like it
Yeah.
was so terrible, dog. It's like it's so it is funny how things have changed from my first kid to this one, right? The
Mm-hmm.
first kid, it was like I got a chase lounge and it just reclined back, and the cushions were just hard, right?
Mm-hmm.
This new joint was like it's a fake leather seat. Then you have a table next to it, and then another leather seat. And then one of those leather seats was a recliner. But if you wanted to sleep, the back of that couch, you could take it out and put it on top of the table and the 2 other cushions and sleep on top of it. And let me tell you, not worth it. That's
Now I
all
have
I
to
have to
bring your
say.
own cot and sleeping bag next time.
Give me a yeah. You know what? Give me a cot. Yes, give me a
Yeah.
cot. I'll take a cot.
Yeah.
They got to do better. It's horrible. That's all I have
Yeah.
to say.
Got one in mind. Cool. Taking notes. Taking notes. Cool. Well, thank you guys. I think we're at the end of our show. Thank you guys so much for watching. We had a couple of followers dropping it out. Um, we'll gotta rethink on possibly changing our times up a little bit with with football coming back and House of the Dragon showing on at this time Sundays. Um, but we're busy men, so it's like bear with us. We'll figure out a different time. So
Yeah.
if that's possible. So cool. That being said, thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. We are on YouTube. We are on Instagram. We're on Twitch, which we still need to kind of figure that one out. We're on Facebook. Um, I'm thinking about starting a new stream on TikTok. Uh,
Ooh.
yeah, so doing that kind of stuff, right? At least kind of figuring out our kind of our more short form strategy as well, right? So little shorts. So we got to play with aspect ratio and all that shit, but we'll get there. Moving along. It's kind of the fun thing about this kind of stuff, figuring kind of stuff out. I spent like almost an hour and a half a tooltip today. That just goes to show you just how non-creative I am, right? Um, and how long it takes me to do that because I literally had to download all of these like photos of like She-Hulk and House of Cards um, and the Sandman, and then when I put it in the tooltip for like the platform that we're using, it doesn't show like the whole thing. Like you have to like adjust and like cut, and it's like mother.
Yep.
So it's frustrating, but you know what? It's meaningful work.
We do it for you.
We do it for you, to the 0 people that's watching right now. But no, we have people watch, so it's great.
Dude, we have
Cool.
an audience. Don't front. Don't trip.
Yeah, we do have an audience, so that's super cool. All right, cool. So let me let you guys go. Thank you guys for watching again. Like, follow, subscribe, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, right? Anchor. We have all the podcasts. I think are we up to date on Anchor now? Good. We're up to date on Anchor. All of our shit's on Anchor, right? So anywhere where you listen to podcasts, the Spotify, Google Podcasts, all that stuff, we're there, right? Much appreciated. Thank you guys so much for the time, and we'll catch you next time. Peace.